Hey, how's it going, folks? Today's Steffi, and welcome back to another episode of my solo playthrough using Hexroll 5e with Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. So basically, if you want to know what Hexroll is, I would definitely recommend checking out the last episode, as it's a online hex grid sandbox, which basically has its own pre-gen towns and events and quests for the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition game. More importantly, 2014 version, the 5th edition of 5.5. So in this episode, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be generating our party today. Now, also not just generating our party, but also talking about the rules of this sort of solo play that we're doing, and other things that I decided to use as well. So we're going to focus on the generation. Now, first thing we're going to do is that we're going to be using my main go-to, I guess you could call it a wiki page. It's not really a wiki page per se, but it's a compendium. So this is 5e Tools. Now this website allows to go through everything that's 5e, including all of the partnered books and homebrew, if you wish to go through the filters and everything. So 5e Tools has all the races, all the classes, well, all the base classes, as well as all the sub classes as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to randomly generate this. So whenever I do my solo playthroughs, you've experienced it with, if you're a regular viewer, you might have experienced it with 4 Gates of Darkness, but I like to randomize my party generation to make every party as different as possibly can. So our first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do it here, because it's a dice roller. Now this is the dice roll that I use in all my playthroughs, all my solo plays, and yeah. So what we're going to start off with is we're going to start off with how many people are in this party. Now in Hexgrid, as I showed off in the last episode, when you go to certain locations, there are character sheets for parties that are there, for not just parties, but for people that are there, for example, like fighters and rogues and that. I decided that we could potentially hire them, maybe, if certain conditions are met. I'll talk about that in the rules section. So in terms of our own party, we're going to decide how many in it. Now the standard D&D party, as far as I'm aware, is 4, right? And then obviously to a maximum of how many characters your DM can DM. But the average is 4 to 6, like including RPGs and video games and other things as well. So let's do a D4. So obviously 1 to 4, let's see what we got. 1. Okay, so we're going to start off with one person. A true solo RPG, a true solo playthrough. So I might add some other characters in the future, but to tell you the truth, starting off with 1 might be interesting. I might actually have to hire an NPC. Actually, this should be interesting. This should be very interesting. Okay, so first of all, we're going to randomize everything. So we're going to randomize the races, or species, whatever you want to call them, tit for tat, you know, I call them races, that's what I've always called them. And then we're going to roll the stats. We're going to randomize the race, we're going to randomize the background, then we're going to roll the stats, and then we're going to randomize what class we're running, and we're going to run what subclass they're going to run as well. Now, I am going to allow for multi-classing as well, but I'll talk about how the class progression is going to go once we actually roll a class. So let's get into our first character then. So we're going to go to races. And by the way, I'll have this website linked in the description as per always. So yeah, so basically, as you can see, we have pretty much a lot of good races here. I don't think I've got the ones from The Hobbit here as well. I think I've got all the major books, and I have got all the major books. That's fine, because, you know, for example, with the Aarakocra, this is one of the flying races. The race that... the race that everybody likes. EEPC, which stands for Elemental Evil Player's Companion. So, you know, stuff like that. So basically all the core books and partner books. So up here is a little thing called Feeling Lucky. Now this is a randomizer button. So basically, if you don't know what to choose, you can just click and boom, it'll give you a random race. So what I like to do is I like to randomize these 5 times just to keep the seed going. So I randomize 5 times, and on the 5th one, that's what we get. So let's see what race we're playing. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're playing a GIF. So we're playing a GIF from the Astral, I think. Yep, Astral Adventurer's Guide. So if you wonder what a GIF is a hippopotamus race from the basically from the Spelljammer styled like campaigns, I believe. I've not played a Astral Sea campaign yet, so it's gonna be interesting. So to give you a little bit of background onto the GIF. So GIF are tall, broad-shouldered folk with hippo-like features. Some have smooth skin, while others have short bristles on their faces, and the tops of their heads. As being of impressive size and unforgettable appearance, GIF are noticed wherever they go. Most GIF believe they're originated in one world, but the home world is now the stuff of legend, because no living GIF has seen it or knows where it is. The divine beings who created GIF are likewise been forgotten. Their titanic, petrified bodies drift on the astral sea, isolated and unrecognizable in their current forms. Although they don't realize it, GIF are drawn to the astral plane because, on a deep psychic level, they remain connected to their creator gods, who have just enough divine spark left in them to imbue GIF with sparks of their own, which GIF have learned to channel through their weapons. Most GIF have no idea where this so-called astral spark comes from, but they feel its presence most strongly when near a wild space or the astral sea. GIF are split into two camps concerning how their name is pronounced. Half of them say it with a hard G, half of them say it with a soft G. So GIF or GIF. GIF, 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 GIF. I don't know, I tend to jump between the two personally. Disagreements over the correct pronunciation often blossom into hard feelings, loud arguments, and head-butting contests, but they rarely escalate beyond that. Good. So basically we're a GIF. Okay, so as a GIF, we get access to this. So we get a choice of 2 ability scores. We can go for a +2 and then a +1 in any other, or we can choose 3 for a +1. So basically it means we can add a +2 to a stats roll, or we can add it and then a +1 to another, or we can do a 3. Basically I randomized that as well. We're size medium, we got 30 feet speed, walking speed. We got swim speed equals 4 walking speed as well. We get astral spark. Your psychic connection to the astral plane enables you to mystically access a spark of divine power, for which you channel through your weapons. When you hit a target with a simple or martial weapon, you can cause the target to take extra force damage equal to your proficiency bonus. You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, but you can't use it no more than once per turn. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. We also get Firearms Mastery. You have a mystical connection to firearms that traces back to the gods of the GIF, who delight in such weapons. You have proficiency for all firearms that ignore the loading property of any firearm. In addition, attacking a long range with a firearm does not impose disadvantage on your attack roll. Now, when it comes to firearms, I'm not entirely too sure if Hexroll has firearms by default. Possibly, possibly not, but you know, there if we're going to use them. Hippo build, you have advantage on strength-based ability checks and strength saving throws. In addition, you count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity and the weight that you can push, drag, or lift. Language you can speak, read, and write common, and one other language that you and your DM agree if it's appropriate for character. So yeah, so we're playing as a GIF. Now, obviously, I'll randomize male or female when we're creating the character as a whole. Right, so now that we have that, we're going to go into a background now. So obviously, backgrounds have different skill proficiencies that we can put our character in, as well as some other things that we can have as well. Yeah, see, we got the Lord of the Rings stuff here as well, which, to be honest, I kind of want to take off, actually, because I'm not planning on playing a Lord of the Rings, to tell you the truth. Okay, right, so same as before, so let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Athlete. Okay, so Athlete is from Mythic Odysseys of Furios. I think that's where the Oath of Glory Paladin comes from, I believe. I've yet to read like all the major books. Like I've only read like the basic 3, the Player's Handbook, Sanafars, and Natasha's. I've yet to read like Sword Coast Venture Guide and other things like that. Skill proficiencies: acrobatics, athletics. Cool. We choose one language of our choice. Okay. 2 proficiencies: vehicles. So like horses, for example. So equipment: bronze discus or leather ball, a lucky charm or past trophy, a set of traveler's clothes, and a pouch containing 10 gold. That 10 gold is going to come in handy. So in terms of feature, you attracted admiration among spectators, fellow athletes and trainers in the region that hosted your past athletic victories. If visiting any settlement within 100 miles of where you grew up, there's a 50% chance you will find someone there who admires you and is willing to provide information or temporary shelter. Between adventurers, you might compete in athletic events sufficient enough to maintain a comfortable lifestyle as per the Practice in the Profession Downtime at 13, Chapter 8 of the Player's Handbook. Yeah, well, I've not really thought about downtime activities. I'll think about that in the future. So obviously here we have a favorite event, we get suggested characteristics. I'll do all that. Doesn't really make much of a difference, but I'll do all that when we fill the character sheet. So yeah, so we are a gift athlete up to now, so that's pretty cool. Right, so what we're going to do now is we are going to, do we do the class first, or should I roll the stats first? Good question. Actually, do you know what, let's roll the stats first, let's see what not. References, no, we want to go players, and we're going to go stat gen. There we go. Okay, so this is going to be easy. So, so basically, when it comes to the stat gen, we have a couple of different things we could choose from. Actually, do you know what, can you guys see that properly? Possibly. Yeah, I don't want to mess around with it. Okay, so there's 4 different ways we can actually do our rolls. We can either roll 46 and drop the lowest, number roll 6, and then that'll be our 6 stats. We got standard array, so we choose if we want to go 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. Point by, if you want to point by, if you want to be more min-max. And then I believe manual is just do whatever you want, really. So we're going to go with a roll, and I've always go with rolls. So with rolls, we're going to randomize, again, we're going to roll 5 times, and on the 5th time, that's what we get, the numbers. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Ooh, 17, 12, 12, 11, 11, 10. Ooh, that is a very good, that's a very good core number to have. I mean, that's a +3 to the modifier. And then we're going to randomly assign them. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so our stats is 17 strength, 10 dex, 12 con, 12 intelligence, 11 wisdom, 11 charisma. That's interesting. Now, we're going to go to our select race, because this is where we apply our stats. So as you can see, now our box changed. So we can either go for +2 down here, or choose 3 to 1. We go back to our dice roller. We're going to do a D2 to determine what we got. So D1 is the +2 +1, and D2, yeah, 1 is the +2 +1, and with roll 2, that's a +1 across 3. Okay, so we're doing the +1 across 3. Nice, and then we're going to randomize them again. So let's go D6, 5. Okay, so we get a +1 into wisdom. And then we're going to go with D5, 1, +1 in strength. That's beautiful. So now we get 18 strength for a +4 modifier. And then we're going to go with a D4 for the final one, and that is going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's going to be a +1 to the charisma. So our final stats is 18 strength, 10 dex, 12 constitution, 12 intelligence, 12 wisdom, and 12 charisma. That is, that's interesting. That is very interesting. At the same time, however, that is actually kind of bad because we're going to be randomized in our class. So, yeah, that's very interesting. Now, obviously, we can choose the background here as well. So we go with athlete, MLT, because sometimes we get a bonus feat from our backgrounds, but yeah, okay. So 18, 10, 12, 12, 12. Jesus Lord. Okay, so obviously everything's on recording, so I can do all this later. Now, our most important thing is going to be classes. So, in the game, we have 12 official classes, and of course, we have the Artificer in 13. So you can see, we have Alchemist, Armor, Artillerist, Battlesmith, Barbarian. We've got Ancestral Guardian, Battle Rager, Beast, Berserker, Giant, Storm Herald, Total Warrior, and so forth and so on. Right then, so let's see what class our GIF is playing. It's going to be interesting. So again, 5, and then on the 5th one we choose. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Paladin. Ooh, that's good. That's good. I was secretly hoping for a strength-based class, and this is it. I get Paladin. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Okay, that is very interesting. Right, so we have a gift Paladin then. Nice. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do is we're going to randomize our subclass as well. Obviously, obviously in this version in 2014, not the 2024 5.5 edition. I believe in the 5.5, Paladins get their oath at level 1, I believe, but here we get our oath at level 3. So even though we're not going to be a level 3 for a while, but at least, you know, we can see what we get then. So, and then we can write it down, and that's the subclass, and that's what we're going for. Okay then, right, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are a Ancient Paladin. Nice. So, okay, so we're going to be starting at level 1. Yeah, so we're going to be starting at level 1, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do XP gain from there. We're going to be doing an XP gain. Now, with the Paladin, as you can see, is that showing up properly? Kind of is, kind of isn't. That's fine. Hold on, I just want to make sure I'm doing something here. Sorry, I'm just doing something here. There we go. Okay. So, a level 1 Paladin, we get access to Divine Sense. So, present Strong Evil, senses like a notice auction as an action. Until the end of Father's turn, we know the location of a celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet that is not behind total cover. And then we could use this equivalence +1 plus our charisma modifier, which is going to be 2, I think, until we finish our rest. And we get access to Lay on Hands, which is basically a healing thing, which is we can with this pool, you can restore a total hit number of hit points equal to a Paladin level times 5, so basically 5 at this point. So also as well as being a Paladin, we get a D10 hit die. So our first level is 10 plus a Constitution modifier. So because we've got a Constitution a Constitution modifier of +1, I think, we're starting off with 11 health. And then proficiency with light, medium, heavy, and shields, and then simple weapons, martial weapons, saving throws, wisdom, and charisma, and then we get to choose 2 skills, which we're going to now. So the skills we can learn is athletics, insight, intimidation, medicine, persuasion, and religion. Now, excuse me for a second, I need to check something very quickly because the athlete background does give. Because the background athlete does give. Okay, acrobatics and athletics, so we can't get athletics from this. So we choose between insight, intimidation, medicine, persuasion, and religion. So let's get to our dice roller. So let's see here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's do a d5 to determine what we've got. 4, that is persuasion, and then a d4 for intimidation. Okay, well that's not going to be useful for us because basically we got a very low charisma score at +2. And I did mention about multiclassing, and as you can see down here, to get a multiclass going on, we need a minimum ability score of strength 14 and charisma 14, which unfortunately we got a charisma score of 12, so that means we can't multiclass. But basically, every time we gain a level, I'm going to randomize things. If we get spells and the choice of an ASI and a feat, we're going to randomize everything. So you never know, we could actually get a chance to multiclass later on. Now, this is the most important thing, the starting equipment. So as you can see, with the starting equipment, we could choose either choose starting equipment or gold buy. But what we're going to be doing is this. So the whole point of gold buy is like you would roll your gold buy and then you go to the items and then you would buy whatever items that you would buy, right? Well, what we're going to do is this. We're going to buy the gold. We're going to roll gold. We're going to roll gold like we normally do, 5d4 times 10. But instead, we're going to keep that gold until we create our sandbox. Because when we go into town, it'll have shops with pre-gen items already. So what we're going to do is we're going to buy the items from the shops from there. So basically, that could be anything. That could be light armor, that could be weapons, like a dagger or something, you know what I mean? So basically, like the way I see this is like our gift paladin is just started his adventure. He's been given a bunch of gold, he has no equipment. Well, they have no equipment because we're not determined if it's male or female yet. And they have to buy their equipment themselves before leaving. So like good old traditional RPG style. So yeah, so that's basically that's how we generate our characters. We will, like I said, hire NPCs. We're definitely going to be hiring NPCs, so there's nothing wrong with that. We're definitely going to be hiring NPCs. So the way I've worked NPCs is this. So in my, I think, was it Tales of Fool's Gold? Now, in my playlist section in this channel, there is a playlist that I created. Actually, these videos are on my main channel. I did a solo playthrough of a custom or a homebrew sort of like hex grid styled Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign called Tales of Fool's Gold. Basically, in that game, I allowed for parties to hire people, and it was like it's kind of like a mixture between, I think, what did I call them? Was it militia? Yeah, it was like militia, man-at-arms, and then hirelings, and then heroes. And basically, the man-at-arms, I believe, was like people they could hire from like challenge rating 1 and 1-8 to 1, I think it was, and man-at-arms were like challenge rating 2 to 4, something like that. And basically, they would cost like a lot of money. But the heroes, the way I did it was I think it was it 100 times character level, I believe it was. So, or was it 50 times? No, that's what it was. It was 50 times character level. Yeah, it was 50 gold times character level. That's what it was. So this means that if we were to hire a level 3, for example, we would have to pay 150 gold. You know what I mean? Or we'd have to do some kind of perception check, or persuasion check, to see if they would like come along for maybe like X percentage of the treasure that we get, or something like that, or if they have a specific quest. We're going to be doing like a lot of oracle rolls, and we're going to be doing a lot of like checks like persuasion and all that, and maybe even like deception or whatever, try and lower the price or whatever. And yeah, that should be pretty cool. So yeah, so what we'll do with that. Now what was it I had in mind for rules? So the rules is pretty much this. There's no like major quests we're going to be following. There is going to be like a lot of delivery quests from what I remember for looking at the rumors, and there is dungeons and all that. There will be some quests that will have their own pre-gen rewards, I believe. So this is going to be basically just do what we can within a month's time, because as I mentioned in the last episode, servers can only be generated and kept online for 1 month before it gets deleted. So we have a little bit of a time limit. So basically, we're gonna maybe do this as in like a month of, just like a story or something like that. And basically, we're just going to just go through hexes and to get as much treasure and items as we can, and there's a couple of quests, and just get a party together and just keep going. In terms of our level ups, I decided we're going to go for the XP method. I think XP is going to be a little bit more fairer for us. I was thinking maybe milestone and maybe going it by quests, I think. But I feel maybe XP might be a little bit better, just so we can level up a lot quicker and maybe get to the point where it's like, you know, maybe we get a little bit too overpowered. But to tell you the truth, with like one person, maybe up to 3 at like level 8 against like what? I don't know, that's like, because like some creatures I came across were like griffins and dragons and, you know, what are they called? Harpies, for example. Yeah, so that's going to be pretty cool. In terms of the battles, now I've been thinking about in terms of the battles. Now, we're going to be using Pay3D. That's going to be my usual program I use for solo RPGs. Basically, it's just easy enough to like move tokens around and do whatever we need to do in terms of like character sheets and all that. So aside for like the encounters that we're doing, Pay3D is going to be there. We're going to get our battle map onto Pay3D, and then we're going to have tokens onto the map, and then we can move everything around. We can do measurements and all that, you know, for spells and all that. But one of the things I like to try and do is I like to try and keep it semi-autonomous, I believe. I like to try and have these characters like have like their own sort of scripts, I suppose. That's the best way to do it. So I had my own system where basically at the beginning of every turn, a character will roll a d6, and it would determine what kind of action it would do. So 1 to 2 was an aggressive action, which basically meant any ability spell or attack that required an attack roll. 3 to 4 was tactical, which means that we'd use a ability, spell, whatever that required a saving throw. And 5 to 6 was support, which means like, you know, supporting a member or healing them or buffing them, that kind of stuff. And then basically I would randomize what they would use. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use Gemini AI to create I guess the best way to describe it, if anyone has played it, there's a game called Final Fantasy XII, and in that game there is something called the Gambit system. Now this is kind of like a autonomous action list that characters use. I'm not going to go into it, but basically it's like a list of like 1, 2, possible 12 actions and conditions sort of thing. So basically, if you know, for example, if an ally's health is 50%, they would heal them, you know, stuff like that, or attack the nearest person. Well, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Gemini AI to look through the character sheets of our gift paladin and other party members and the stat blocks of the enemies that we're facing to generate a little bit of a action list or a gambit list or something. That way we can have a look at them and be like, right, so this person's doing this person does that, if that happens, and basically just go down this list of what they would do. And then sort of like compare and contrast. And then basically we can perform that action, and then we will do our dice rolls. If they hit, succeed. If they miss, how much damage they take, how much damage they receive, how much damage we deal, how much damage we heal, did this, saving that. You know what I mean? I think that way it will make the encounters a little quicker, I think. Because there was times where I had like encounters, especially in my solo play of a homebrew adventure called Curse of the Blood Moon. Unfortunately, I had to stop that when I was making a new channel. I do plan on doing that again. I do like that module. Where basically, like, I was doing all that, and the battle took like 3 episodes. So it was like, do you know what I mean? And with a month-line timeline, or time date, whatever, deadline, that's what I'm looking for. I think like that stuff is going to be pretty quick, because not only am I going to be recording the Hexroll stuff, I'm going to be going back to the 4 Gates of Darkness stuff, because I don't want to leave the 4 Gates of Darkness stuff for too long, since we're left on a little bit of a cliffhanger. Yeah, with the first dungeon. So yeah, so basically that's how it's going to work. If there's anything else that I will add to the playthrough to spice things up a little bit, I will let you guys know in the beginning of the first adventuring session, I suppose. But between now and then, I will get the character set up with the money. Oh, actually, the money, I forgot. I need to roll the money. Anyway, what I was about to say is, yeah, I will get the character set up with the money and the character sheet and everything, and then we can go through what we want to do, and then I'll explain how adventuring is going to work, how resting days and all that. But yeah, so basically that's kind of like the little rules that I got, but for the most part, things are just pretty much straightforward. It's just a straightforward hex crawl. That's it. Nothing really too fancy in terms of what I want to do and all that. I mean, in terms of complexity, again, you should go check out that Tales of Fool's Gold. That's fucking complex as hell. Looking forward to going back to it though, because it does offer some very interesting stories and all that. But yeah, it's all cool. Right, so anyway, our starting gold is going to be 90 gold. Okay, so that's enough to give us a melee weapon or whatever and some armor. Interesting then. Right, so 90 gold, so I will remember that. Right, okay, anyway, so anyway, we have our first, well, and only party member, which is going to be a gift for Agent's Paladin, so that's going to be interesting. So we'll see how long this character lasts. If this character dies as well as our party in general, then what we'll do is we will continue the adventure with a brand new party and just keep playing and see what happens. Right, so anyway, my friends, that's going to be it for today's episode, so thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Oh, no, that's Beatrice for me, off a channel. No, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to join the adventure. That's correct. And apart from that, enjoy the rest of your awesome day, and I'll see you next time.